Welcome, Rabbi Scheim, and thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
What does the word freedom mean to you in a year of Corona?
Well, freedom takes on a different nuance, I think, this year. I'm reminded of the biblical words of Me'az Yatzah Matok, that sometimes out of something that is very difficult, there can emerge a semblance of sweetness, and not to forget the great pain that has been caused by Corona, and with illness and death and loss of income, etc. A lot of people worldwide have suffered terribly, and a lot of our communities have suffered. But what is the sweetness is the fact that it has freed us from the rigor of our pre-corona schedules, allowing us to appreciate the nature of life and what we're able to achieve when we're not bound to what has come before. We're thrown into a new world without the parameters for which we are trained and to which we've become accustomed. And it opens up new possibilities for us to rethink how we approach life. So that, in a sense, is the new freedom that we acquire even during a very difficult and challenging time.
Thank you. What have we learned from our ability to adapt our Seder experiences amid COVID?
Well, I think we've learned the same thing from the adapting we've done in our synagogue services as well, and how we have used, because of necessity, technology to broaden the scope of those we involve in what we do. So family sidarim, for example, which in physical sense are smaller and often very painful when grandchildren are not with grandparents, etc. Nonetheless, family that may live at a distance who have not been part of our sidarim for years are now able to join through technology. And even in very traditional communities, there has been a certain, out of necessity, an allowance of using technology where once that would not have been used on a Yom Tov. And I think that has opened up a possibility for us of bringing people into our lives who otherwise would not be there. So that has been, in a sense, the change that has taken place in our Sidarim. Again, not what we would have wanted, because we still want to be able to have a large gathering around the table, physically present, able to hug each other, able to look at each other person to person, not screen to screen. But the result of using technology to expand the reach of our Sidarim, the same way that we've done that in our synagogue services, is something that's going to survive the pandemic and will be there in some form in the future, which ultimately will not be a bad thing.
Absolutely. Is optimism possible in an ever challenging world?
It becomes, as the world becomes more challenging, optimism becomes more challenging. But I believe that it is possible. You have to work at it. Kol zman she'adam chai yesh lo tikva, the sages teach us, as long as we're alive, we have hope. And the fact is that uh, we, we know that the struggles will continue. Life will get more difficult. There's plenty of evil in the world, plenty of bad things, plenty of crises, political divides, all kinds of stuff that drives us crazy. But ultimately, hope is the core of our being. And look, what we never lost hope in thousands of years of our history for there to be a Jewish homeland. With all of the service, with all the elections, with all of the difficulties, with all of the challenges, we have a beautiful country. And because we never lost that hope, so hope, it has to be there. And optimism is the core of that hope, that we have to say that there will be a tomorrow. We will reach tomorrow. There'll be a new day, and that will be something that we'll be proud of, notwithstanding the struggles and the aggravation that we have to experience moment to moment in our lives at this time.
Great. And speaking of hopes, what are some of your hopes for the coming years?
Stronger Jewish communities, a resurgence of a pluralistic approach to Jewish life, and an infusion of tolerance uh, in the wider community of Jewish life, and also in the world as a whole. That intolerance is a great threat to us, and challenges us, and really puts everything at risk that we hope for and dream for. We have to become more tolerant of each other. and more on a day-to-day basis, on a personal level. So that is something that I hope we'll be able to achieve, that we'll be able to, through our example, through the example that we set in the Masorti world, for example, that will demonstrate that out of tolerance can come great success and great achievement. We have to recognize that not everyone is going to do what we do. Not everyone is going to believe exactly the way we believe. But as long as we, by example, show that we can value their belief, but cling to our own, then maybe they can learn from that example as well. And that will clearly achieve a better world, both Jewishly and in the world as a whole.
Amen. Well, thank you very much, Rabbi Scheim, and thank you on behalf of our organization for your leadership and support for the past couple of years. And we're wishing you a Chag Pesach Sameach.
Gam lach, and come to all as well. Chag Kasher Sameach, and a joyous Pesach, and L'shana haba b'Yerushalayim.